Hello, everyone. I'm Crystal Cruz. Thanks for joining us tonight here on News West 9 at 10. Well, the votes are in for this November election. We begin tonight with the Midland mayor's race. The final results show incumbent Lori Blanc will keep her seat leading the tall city. She defeated her challenger, Judd Campbell. The unofficial results, Blanc took away 65% of the vote, while Campbell pulled in 35%. Lori Blanc is the first woman to serve as Midland mayor, and now she's been elected for a second term. News West 9's Stephen Pepper joins us live. He spoke with the mayor after the final results came in. Stephen.
Well, it's a night of celebration here at Mayor Lori Blanc's watch party tonight, as the numbers are still coming in, but clearly in her favor for re-election. Now, moments ago, I got the opportunity to speak with Mayor Blanc and just to understand how she's feeling tonight.
I'm really thankful to be able to serve this community that I love. It's been my honor and my joy to be able to serve these last few years, and I'm so thankful to Midland voters for entrusting this to me again. I don't take that lightly, and so I'm very thankful for that. And I also want to say I wish my opponent all the best. And we've come to the end of a long campaign season, and so I want to wish him all the best. We have a lot of good work to be done in Midland, and I'm looking forward to getting going with that.
Again, it's an unofficial tally right now, but it's likely that you will be the winner. If it's so decided that you are the winner of this race, why do you think Midlanders chose you, Mayor Lori Blanc, as their mayor once again?
I have a proven track record of addressing things and addressing problems that other people have kicked down the road, and so I believe that there's the evidence of their faith in me to be able to do that again in the future, and I'm so thankful. I do understand the seriousness of the trust that's been put into me, and I take that really, really seriously. I'm going to be going forward and working hard.
A final question for you, Mayor. Can you talk to me about the importance of continuity? Why is it crucial that Midland has their mayor for 3 more years to finish what they started?
Well, I'd like to say congratulations to my friend Jack Ladd for also winning his race, and looking forward to continuing to serve with this council. It really has been an honor to serve with the 6 other people just over these last few years. We have good camaraderie. We don't always agree on every single thing, and I think that helps us to make good decisions for the future of Midland. I'm looking forward to working with them again.
Now, although it's a night of celebration here at Mayor Blanc's watch party, during her victory speech, she says there's no days off for her, and she's looking forward to getting ready for work tomorrow to serve the city of Midland. Reporting live in Midland, I'm Stephen Pepper for News West 9.
Well, it is a beautiful night tonight out over in Midland. We have more election results coming up for you in a minute. But Jordan, voters were treated to some lovely fall weather today. Will it stick around?
Well, we are going to see those nice cool temperatures kind of last into those overnight hours, but those afternoon highs really heading into more so tomorrow and for Thursday. Going to be a little bit more reminiscent of summertime, but here we are pretty comfortable now in those mid 60s, 65. Feels like it too. Humidity is not all that bad, but southerly winds are going to continue to be bringing in a lot of that very warm air, more so during the afternoon hours. At night, it's nice and cool and comfortable. We look at this, a lot of 60s across the basin, 59 in Hobbs, 50 right now in Marfa, 52 in Ozona. But what about radar? Has that been active? Well, really not. Barely a cloud in the sky. I'm not looking at rain chances coming up anytime soon. It's just going to stay warm. It's going to stay dry. Tomorrow going to be one of our warmer days. At least our nights are closer to average. But here we go. 87 for tomorrow. Plenty of sunshine. Good for a medium-sized iced coffee. I am quite happy to have some iced coffee. But do we want to be dealing with these temperatures for too long? Probably not. At least not for this much, this early in November. But you know what? We will take what we can get. Back to you, Crystal.
All right, thanks, Jordan. Well, now let's go to the District 3 race for Midland City Council. 3 candidates were hoping to take the seat, and incumbent Jack Ladd will be keeping his position. He garnered 74% of the vote, followed by Shandy Williams with 23% and Cheston Blank with 4%. This will actually be Ladd's 3rd term on the City Council. All right, before we head off to break, let's check in with results on an $11 million road bond in Ector County. Only people in the Sterling Park subdivision, which is private, could vote on it. They're voting to tax themselves to pay the county back for fixing their roads. Let's take a look at those unofficial numbers right now. It looks like pretty much most people are there. It looks like most people are voting for it. We'll check back in on those numbers in just a minute. There we go, 89%. Well, after the break, we will bring you the latest results from Howard and Andrews County, where two of our reporters are live. But first, we'll take you live out to Ryan Hall event venue in Big Spring, where News West 9's Cameron Leal is getting reaction tonight on a proposition for Big Spring firefighters. We'll be right back. Well, we are continuing to follow several propositions on our West Texas ballots. Let's head over to Big Spring, where voters are deciding on two big propositions. Proposition A lets Big Spring firefighters collectively bargain with the city. That means they would have the right to negotiate pay, benefits, and working conditions under a contract with the city. These are some unofficial numbers. We don't have the final results, but right now many people are voting against it. At last check, it was 53% against and 47% for. So, turning to Big Spring voters have made their decision, and News West 9's Cameron Leal joins us live in downtown Big Spring, where firefighters have been watching the results come in. Cameron, what's the reaction tonight?
Yes, Crystal, you said it right. We're here in downtown Big Spring, where local firefighters have been keeping a close eye on the results, in which resulted in Proposition A not being passed. We're here with Matthew Burrows. Matthew, so tell me a little bit about the reaction between you and the firefighters as of right now, knowing that Prop A has not passed.
Yeah, it hurts, but we put everything we had into it. I'm not sad about anything that we did. We did everything we could. We rallied. We saw all of our guys come together, and so I'm proud of what we did.
Absolutely, and we talked a lot about public safety. So now moving forward, is there still going to be discussion between firefighters and city leaders?
Absolutely. We're here for public safety. I feel like this sent a message to the city that that's what we care about is public safety, and we look forward to working with our city and moving forward. Absolutely. And lastly, do you have a message for the voters who came out and casted their ballots? Yeah, voters showed up today, Election Day. It was awesome. We were at the polls. It was very encouraging. And I just want to thank everybody that did vote for us, who had our bags, and we'll get it next time. Absolutely. Matthew, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for having us here in Big Spring. If you have more info or curiosity about Proposition A, you can go on our website, newswest9.com. Live in Big Spring, Cameron Leal, News West 9. Crystal?
All right, thanks, Cameron. Well, the other big proposition in Howard County, creating an emergency services district number 1. It allows the district to levy a tax of up to 10 cents for every $100 of property value. It's a tax increase to fund emergency services in the county, and just by looking at some unofficial numbers right now, that proposition is not passing, with 62% of the or 59% of the votes saying no there. Now to the final race we're tracking out of Howard County. Voters weighed in on a school district tax hike of a little more than 91 cents for every $100 of property value. The district says it would have meant more money for maintenance and operations. In dollars, it's a little less than $2.5 million more in funding. But this proposition, not right now, not passing. 60% against, 40% for. We now switch things over to Andrews County, where we are following Proposition A. It would have created an emergency service district, but 58% of voters actually turned it down. The other 42% said yes. The emergency services district would have combined fire and EMS services under one budget, operating as its own entity. Sanji Milburn joins us now live with more. Sanji?
Yeah, that's right, Crystal. The proposition for the Andrews County Emergency Service District did not pass. Now, the ESD would have combined the fire department and EMS under one budget, operating as its own entity. Currently, EMS is funded by the hospital, while the volunteer fire department is funded by the city and county. The idea of creating an ESD began with a group of residents who came together to sign a petition, which was submitted and approved by the Commissioner's Court. If the ESD had passed, property owners would have paid a 10-cent tax for every $100 of property value to fund the district. Now, Michael Moore, who started the petition, says although the proposition did not pass, he will continue to fight for an ESD.
Having emergency services that have reliable, dedicated funding and personnel in place that can respond as soon as the call is made. That helps the community, help those who are less fortunate.
Now, the proposed ESD would have been governed by a board appointed by the commissioners. In Andrews, Sanji Milburn, News West 9.
All right, now to our final race we're tracking out of Andrews County. Voters approved a tax rate increase for Andrews ISD. It's for their maintenance and operating budget. It won with 64% of the vote. The 2-cent increase would bring in about $1.7 million for Andrews ISD's operating budget. Money to help keep class sizes small, pay teachers and staff, and cover daily costs. Let's move over to Fort Stockton. The school district there had 3 propositions on the ballot tonight. We start with Prop A, which would increase taxes for the district's maintenance and operation. It's expected to help pay for Fort Stockton teachers and staff and student programs. Based on the unofficial numbers, it has passed with 61% of the votes. The 2-cent increase will raise a little more than $1.3 million, which would help pay again for teachers and staff along with student programs. Moving on to the next Fort Stockton ISD proposition, Prop B. This proposition allows the Fort Stockton School District to pay off existing maintenance debt using a bond. The unofficial results, it passed with 55% of the votes. The district plans to issue more than $10 million in bonds to replace the old note. The taxes collected will be used to pay back the principal and interest on the bond. Essentially, this is a way of managing existing debt while keeping money available for things like school improvements, safety upgrades, and student resources. And now we take a look at the final proposition for Fort Stockton ISD. Voters also gave this one their stamp of approval. 51% voted yes to issuing $5 million in bonds to fund school stadium facilities. The taxes collected will go toward paying back the bonds and interests. Switching gears to Sands CISD, they had a Proposition A on the ballot tonight. This one would help fund school maintenance and operation. Based on these unofficial numbers, it looks like the proposition will pass with 71% of the votes. Next up, Reeves County, where they have 2 propositions on the ballot for the town of Pecos City. First, let's go ahead and start with Proposition 1. It asks voters to continue a local sales tax that's 3/8 of 1% to help pay for maintenance and repairs on city streets. The unofficial results show it passed with 56% of the votes. Now, this isn't a new tax. It's a reauthorization of one that's already in place. Since voters said yes, the tax stays in place for another 4 years. Also in Pecos, voters said no to giving the mayor and city council a pay raise. 77% voted against it. This proposition would have set council members' pay at $12,000 and the mayor's pay at $15,000 a year plus health insurance benefits. It would have also covered their medical expenses. Now let's take a look at one last proposition before we head off to break. In Presidio County, voters had to decide if they wanted to spend $5.5 million to improve county buildings like the courthouse and annex, along with improving roads and buying new equipment and vehicles for road and bridge work. Voters, though, turning this one down. This proposition did not pass. 72% of voters turned it down. Well, as the results continue to come in, let's take a second to check in with Jordan for our weather forecast. What are you tracking for the rest of tonight's weather, Jordan?
Well, Crystal, I'm tracking those temperatures taking a big time tumble, really just during those overnight hours, but the afternoons heating up to near records. Stay tuned. I'll be breaking down everything for you coming up. As long as we keep having consistently clear skies, you're going to get some really cool views, especially recently because we are entering into that full moon phase. All right, Danny Garcia was able to send this picture middle of the day. Keep that in mind, from Valentine, Texas. Gotta love, the farther west you go in Texas, the more mountainous it becomes. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Danny, for sending this in. Okay, it looks mountainous. We got the clear skies. We got the full moon. moon. And yeah, you know what? I think it is a full moon. We're nearing records. That's not okay. Our average high this time of year is 72, and we're here in those low to mid 80s, and it's going to keep increasing at least for the next few more days. The record is 89 from 1988, and our morning lows getting a little bit on the warmer side, but not all that bad, at least compared with the afternoon high. So you have those cool, crisp mornings, but then you got to shred away that sweater by the afternoon when temperatures get back up. And then they get back down. 65 right now. Feels like it too. Higher humidity values are the only thing keeping us from entering into any kind of advanced or enhanced fire watch. Yeah, red flag warnings. When you got dry air and no rain, that tends to be a problem. Luckily, we got the cooler temperatures and the winds aren't too terribly strong, only 14 miles an hour right now. Currently, you got a nice little mix going on, mainly because of the differences in elevations. Marfa already down to 50 degrees. Wow. Fort Stockton's at 65, just like Odessa and Midland. Ozona's down to 52. Other places are struggling to cool off. Carlsbad still at 70 degrees. Not terrible by any means, but still warm for this time of year. Radar, it's empty. That means we are going to quickly cool down. When you have all that heat from the day quickly escaping into space, it really helps when you don't have cloud cover, moisture, or rain chances getting in the way there. By the overnight hours, okay, I have us getting down to about 52, very similar to what we saw earlier this morning. I can't complain about that. South wind, that's what's keeping us from entering into a lot of those widespread 40s. That's fine, we can deal with that. Heading out the door tomorrow, iced coffee is your friend. Upper 80s, a little warm, but you know what? It might just stay shy of the record. The record is 89. Let's see how close we get. Here's the next 48 hours. Not a whole lot of excitement going on, just that nice flow coming in from the south. Barely a passing cloud here and there, and that's the only thing we need to keep watching out for. At least for the next 2 days, it's just going to be staying a little bit on the hotter side. But once we head into the end of the week, all right, things start to change. Small cold front on Friday. It drops us down about 10 degrees. Pretty respectable. We heat back up, but then we have a big time cool down. 20 degrees all the way into early next week before we round it out in the middle around those 70s. I can't wait for that, Crystal.
All right, sounds good, Jordan. Thanks. Well, we're still following the latest unofficial numbers, and next up, we'll tell you some results and races across the state. That's next. Well, there were 17 state constitutional amendments on the ballot. 2 involve some tax breaks for homeowners. Proposition 11 increases the school property tax exemption for the elderly or disabled. This was a big one for Texans. Here's a look at some unofficial numbers. It looks like right now this proposition is passing with 79% of the vote. Moving on to Proposition 13, it increases the homestead exemption for all of us, going from $100,000 to $140,000. This is another one that a whole lot of people were hoping to pass, and again, 82% right now voting for it. This next proposition had support from West Texas leaders. Prop 4 creates the Texas Water Fund. It's expected to help pay to fix old water infrastructure, flood protection plans, and also to find water resources. The unofficial numbers right now, it is passing with 71% of the vote. And next up is another Proposition 14. It's sponsored by our very own state representative, Tom Craddock of Midland. This proposition would give $3 billion to create the Dementia Prevention and Research Institute of Texas, along with research funding. As of right now, based on the unofficial numbers, it's passing with 68% of the vote. The last Texas constitutional state proposition we're covering is Prop 3. This has to do with bail for certain violent offenses. Most defendants have the right, of course, to be released on bail, except in certain cases like being charged with capital murder or accused of certain repeat felonies. But under this proposition, it broadens that. It includes crimes for sexual assault and indecency with a child. Right now, it's passing with 64% of the vote. When we come back, we'll have one final look at the forecast. That's next.
So I got a whole lot of time. So let's go ahead and go through some of those main components of the forecast once again. All right. Iced coffee forecast. What? Jordan, you just started doing the hot coffee forecast. Yeah, well, our weather does this. Well, this. I'm not going to do it. I'm doing the wave, exactly. Thank you, Chris. Okay, 87 for tomorrow. What's interesting about that is that we're nearing those records. That's about 2 degrees away from the record high, which is 89 degrees. Will we get it? You know what? I feel like this is something like sports betting we should do. We should start betting on the weather. I think that's going to be a whole lot of fun. I'll join in with you guys. Future track over the next couple of days, I just don't see a whole lot going on. We are going to see some slight wind changes. Most of the time, they're going to be coming in from the south, southwest. Very typical for us. Very dry air, very warm air. Other times, it might just be almost a direct westerly flow. In that case, it's just going to be still a lot of that very dry air. And that's fine. We are completely fine with that. But we could really go for at least a little bit of rain, maybe a little bit of cloud cover, something to help ease those drought conditions. Well, I don't have that. So yeah, let's add to it. A car wash forecast. Let's go. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all going to be good days. And go ahead and add the wax in case we decide to have, you know, one of those surprise showers or thunderstorms. The problem is I just don't see that being the case over the next couple of days. I have a few cold fronts. I have one coming in on Friday, drops us down about 10 degrees, and another one coming in on Sunday. That's dropping us about 20 degrees. But here's the thing. Those are dry cold fronts. No rain, no clouds, no moisture, no humidity associated with them. And well, here I got a fun fact for you. If you want to learn more about those dry cold fronts, I do have an explainer on that for tomorrow. Kind of giving people a tease ahead. You can watch that during our sunrise show, 6 o'clock and 10 o'clock show.
Sometimes when y'all say cold front, it's just a little.
It's cold is a very subjective term.
Explain that. I want you to explain that.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for
next week.
watching, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.